We close our global journey in Africa, where digital assets are not just about innovation, but also about access, inclusion, and resilience. Nigeria has one of the most active crypto communities in the world, with adoption rates that consistently rank among the highest. In this fireside chat, Sean White speaks with Herve Lacorne to explore how regulation is taking shape in Nigeria, the challenges of building in such a dynamic environment, and the opportunities that come with leading a grassroots movement in digital assets. Herve, Sean, over to you.
Thank you very much, Alec. And thank you very much, Dika, for this fantastic Global Digital Asset Regulatory Summit this year. Really, some really fantastic sessions we've already had. And if you're tuning in, sorry about being a little bit late. We just had a couple of technical difficulties. And if you're tuning in from a recorded session, thanks for choosing to find out a little bit more what's happening here in the the Democratic Republic of Congo. And today we have Herve Lacorne of Winston Gold. And Herve, would you like to have a bit of an introduction with yourself and perhaps what it is that you guys are doing with the DRC? Oh, I think we just lost it. Oh, Herve. Herve, I was just giving you an introduction. Once you get off mute, would you like to just introduce yourself briefly and give us a bit of an idea of what you're doing there with the DRC?
Yes, thank you very much. So, yeah, Herve Lacorne, I am with Winston Gold and Winston. DRC has an exciting program, the Access program, tokenization of natural resources, starting with gold blended with a forest token that generates carbon credit, and then with future expansion in other commodities such as coffee and cocoa are in the plans. But a very exciting program that blends both innovation and technology and.
Oop, I think Herve's just lost it there. But yeah, it's fantastic to see Herve come in on this particular session today because, we are all about the blending of a sustainability development goals and then also, incentivizing or at least sort of fusing or entwining what we have essentially as a carbon credit or a environmental credit that's going to also be part of their financial system. So, Herve, if you're back with us, would you like to explain a little bit more about how you came about to be part of this, essentially this SDG come financial play there in Congo?
Yeah, so I started working with tokenization of natural resources in Central Africa, and then was open to really the forest token and the carbon credit model. The challenge with carbon credit and saving the environment is everybody wants to do it, but nobody wants to pay for it. And that's where we decided to blend the two. And found the opportunity to really leverage the underground to finance basically the above ground, the artisan miner, and clean it up, both from a fraud standpoint as well as from a nature standpoint of not using the chemical that are used and not putting the kids in the mines. So it's basically win-win across the thing, and we basically found a way to create a token that rewards you and as well as does good for the planet, basically.
So the way I understand it, and some of our preparation, is Congo relies a fair bit on its artesian reserves, its underground mining reserves, gold in particular, and there is a lot of unethical, corrupt sort of, I guess, mechanics that tend to go on in that sort of actual extraction, refinement, and retail manufacturing and production. So we're not just also looking at the traceability that blockchain can give through those sorts of financial, integrities, but we're also talking about maybe more the ethical mining approaches as well.
Absolutely, there's ethical mining, so it turns to be ethical gold. There is a security component. We have a partner with Gold Connects that use drone first, first intention was watching the forest to guarantee that the forest carbon credit is accurate. But now it's also watching the security and to watch and make sure no kids are going into the mine. The production is done ethically, and also carrying the gold from mine to mint. We are actually planning to do dynamic NFTs on XDC for when the gold is being picked up for traceability and make sure that it's not lost there. The other thing is law enforcement being able to integrate and if a lot of the contraband is going out of those small miners, so being able to catch that. We're working with the law enforcement on that side to be able to catch it and reward people that helps in the catching the contraband with SGRT compensation. So anonymity in the case of reporting and reward.
Oh, that's interesting. So ostensibly there'll be some sort of subnet engagement with XDC Network, or at least a zero knowledge proof when you're talking about anonymity. It seems like a perfect we haven't really discussed this off camera, but it seems like quite a perfect, like, a lot of times people say, well, why bother using blockchain? Why not just use cloud? Is this part of the reason why, and you're very familiar with both Web 2 and Web 3, is this part of the reason why Congo was so interested in talking with you?
Well, I'm not sure Congo was really interested. I mean, the challenge were twofold from a business standpoint, kind of selling the program and the opportunity to leverage natural resources for, support of the economy as well and support of the microeconomy. As some of you may know, there's a big deal that was happening between President Trump and Rwanda and Congo, because there was, those are the big mines that they're looking and so forth. But really, we're looking at sustainability, small miners, improving their life, but also monitoring because the crime there. So Congo was very interested in how we integrate the two.
Yeah, so
how we
I was
bring
going to say
transparency.
I didn't mean to I didn't mean to presume that Congo were chasing you for this, but they certainly were seemingly receptive to the idea. What I was probably getting at, and maybe it's better to phrase this more openly, but why not just rely on a Web 2 cloud staking software as a service approach to this? Why do we need to be using blockchain?
So I will say, do we ever need to be using blockchain? The answer is no. Blockchain is a great tool, and what it brings is the immutability, the transparency. Of course, it's also important to have the data that comes in, right? What's unique as well with this, what I call it, not a stable coin, but a floor coin, because it's got a yield, a climate yield to it, is the ability to reconcile both sides of the balance sheet. So we have the mines that are signed up that are going to be put before the shipment is put on the XDC blockchain for basically NFTs to be able to track the thing. There's also the NFT to show the mines or the contracts and everything. So you have the asset and the liability that are on chain, which I think is important. The technology that we use when we're basically plugging in the trust signal inside the blockchain is really to be able to have that kind of the accountability. This is the first time also this coin is set by law as a monetary instrument, so it can be traded just like currencies. And if we were to transmit from my account and from my wallet registered in Canada to yours in Australia, that would be reportable to Austrac and FinTrack if it goes over a certain amount. And that's, I think, where the bridge technology is beneficial.
Yeah, maybe speak a little bit more of that, since I know you do have a financial payments background. And how is this? Maybe just explain a little bit more to the viewers. The sovereign gold and also the forestry tokens.
Yeah, so the sovereign gold, we said the gold goes from underground to through the mines that are operating today to then being refined at the refinery and then taken out. So I looked at it from a banker standpoint and says, well, I have basically a asset-based lending. There's inventory with the gold in the mine that is guaranteed by the government as 4 times the amount. Then it works work in process, and then gold is not like you have to worry about nobody wanting to buy it. So it's a commodity that's easily sellable and non-perishable as well. So if I look at it strictly from a banker standpoint, it's an easy financial transaction to fund. You have the guarantee from the government, which basically is almost like a banker's acceptance. You have the guarantee of the product or the guarantee of the bank and the banker's acceptance. In the banker's acceptance, here's the thing. The other thing, I was talking to investors last night at the event, and there was, it's almost like pre-1971 when you have U.S. Treasury that today is not backed by gold. Here, you could also look at it as a Congolese treasury that is backed by gold and gold in process and forest at the same time. So the idea of the forest reserve token was to be able to create a yield for people that are holding the token. So really blending the two, traditional finance and fintech. Now, you need to give me a reason to buy this. People will say, oh, Africa, there's too much crime and so forth. Well, that's what we're addressing. And then, so if you get a premium for buying pre-ICO and so forth, okay, you can get a yield there. But then why should you hold it? And that's where the climate yield comes into play. 2 gold token gives you 1 forest token that generates the carbon credit, which is about $40 to $100. Some people say more. And that becomes a 20% yield, maybe potentially higher. So.
And I did a little bit of reading, and I am very much aware that the Congolese government is very much into having more, wealth creation and circular, like a circular economy, and would there be obviously sort of some uplift there on a social level, not just on an economic level, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, when we're having like when we're eliminating or reducing or, obviously through blockchain, making it pretty hard for some of these miners to be running, unethically.
Yes, not only the blockchain, but the blockchain's reporting the surveillance that happens with basically the drones, the technology that are on the ground, and so not only the ethical mining and not using the pollutive product that are traditionally used.
Yeah, the processes can be quite noxious.
And also giving a steady income to the miners, so they don't have to be, if they get sick, they can't feed their family, and therefore they don't have to resort to selling. I've heard there's as high as 60% of the artisan mine proceed that goes into across the border, and we spend a lot of time talking about AML and and counterterrorism financing, CTF, and right, what's better than gold that you can steal? So putting that process in there, having the blockchain to document this, I think that's where the value of the blockchain is, as well as the fractional ownership, being able to have a token that is, and when you embed the compliance, like we say, being able to comply with OSTRAC or FinTrack or Financial Action Task Force for transfer that are that where it makes sense, that's a value. And for the individual, basically having a custodied account of the SGRT, which we provide with the MacPay platform, then allows for the average local guys to be able to have a gold account, basically in for $25 worth or in their own currency.
Well, I can't
That's
think of it.
actually,
Absolutely. I honestly can't think of many people with the experience and the sensitivity to the situation to actually be part of what the Congolese government's doing. And I'm really excited and impressed actually. And it's one of those things that there'll be plenty of other countries and jurisdictions which will be watching and noticing, and hopefully maybe using this as a bit of a benchmark or at least a template. Obviously, in various gas reserves, mining, ventures and whatnot, tokenization, even artesian reserves and all the rest of it. It's quite mind-boggling to kind of really contemplate where real-world asset tokenization can then sort of perhaps facilitate environmental and social goals. We might be running out of time a little bit. Obviously, it's been a very long day, and as such, we probably ran out a bit of runway. Would have loved to have spent another 10 minutes, Herve, but very, very good to have you here today. Any last minutes, maybe just a quick sign off, and we'll let Alec and Amy Rose and the team finish off and close out today.
yeah, thank you for the invitation. I think there's a lot more that we could discuss. I mean, the deposit token from JP Morgan and being able to bring this and blending the compliance is really the key, and I think that's what we're working hard on to ensure that we leverage blockchain for traceability, and big fan of XDCs as well.
Blockchain for good.
So, blockchain
Thank
for
you very
good.
much. We'll talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk again soon, Herve. Thank you very much, Alec.
Thank you.
You can take.
Thank you, Herve, and thank you, Sean, for those powerful perspectives from the Congo. And thank you to all of you watching for being part of today's conversations. We have traveled from Washington to Wellington, from Singapore to London, and the insights shared across these sessions show just how connected the global story really is. This brings us to the close of the Global Digital Asset Regulatory Summit 2025. The digital asset landscape in Australia has changed today, and we look forward to working towards a better future for our industry. Thank you to our sponsors TRM Labs, SwiftX, XDC Network, OKX, and CoinSpot.